Hi everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. Before we get started, be sure to check out my Creative Fabric of Fans page down below. I offer you exclusive early access to my YouTube channel videos there, as well as some free SVGs every month included in the subscription. So be sure to give that a quick look. Now, today's video is one that you guys asked for after I made the cutaway cards with the Joy. You wanted to know, can you make cutaway cards with the other machines? And the answer is, yes, you can. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this. It's really fun, pretty simple, so let's get started.
Whatever we would do it just for fun.
To do the cutaway cards with another machine, it's pretty easy, but you do have to do a few steps in order to make it work. So if you want to use their designs, up in the upper right-hand corner, there is a machine selection. You want to go ahead and select Cricut Joy from that portion. Even if you don't have a Joy, you need to select the Joy. Then what you can do is go over into Projects, and under All Categories, click where it says Cutaway Cards. And it's going to give you all of these little card options. So you have a ton of different like little designs. I'm sure they'll add more, but this is what they have right now. So we'll make this thanks one. That way you can see it writing, but it's super easy. And then all you have to do is click Customize. Don't click Make It because we're not using the Joy to actually cut this out and write this out. So you'll see that it comes up on your screen. You don't need to do anything with this at all. It's fine the way it is. But what you'll need to do is create a custom setting. So we need to change our machine before we do anything else. So under where it says Joy, click on that and choose the machine you're using. I'm using my Cricut Maker for this one, but you can do this on your Maker 3, Explorer 3, Explorer Air 2, whatever you have. What you'll do is up here in the upper left-hand corner, click those three lines and choose the option Manage Custom Materials. It's going to ask you which machine you're going to use, so it'll ask you to select your Cricut device. Now, your machine does need to be turned on in order to choose your custom materials and make your own materials. So keep that in mind. You'll want to make sure that your machine is plugged in and turned on. Scroll all the way down to the bottom of the screen, and we're going to add new material. Click on that, and it will ask you to name your material. So I'm going to name mine Cutaway Cards. You'll see that I have another one because I already did this to test it, but this will be the one that we'll use. Click Save, and it'll scroll you all the way back up to the alphabetical correct place for this. Now, I found that I have to turn mine all the way up to 350, and that's all I have to do. I just need to turn that pressure all the way up and click Save. Then you can scroll up to the top or the bottom and just use this little X to close out. Now, just click on the word Make It. And you'll need to give this just a second because it does take a second to load. Now, I will say I did find that I did need to move this just a touch in order to get it a little more centered on the card because the card is 4.5 by 5.5. So if you look kind of at these, it'll help you line it up. And I know these are kind of in the way, but you'll see that this starts at 0. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5.5 is about here. So what you want to do is try to kind of get it evened out with the 1 and the 5. The 4 is a little tricky as well because it's 4.5. So you kind of just got to move it a little bit and figure out about where halfway is between the 5.5 and the 1, but keeping in mind that there is this little edge. So just kind of play with it. You may need to do a few little like tests in order to figure out exactly where it needs to be. But you'll get it, don't worry. It may not be 100% perfect, but it'll still look really nice. So I wouldn't fret too much if you don't get it exactly where you want it to be. So like I said, I don't move it a ton. I just give it a little shudge over to the side and it works just fine. Now for this one, you're going to need a pen and that is all, and your fine point blade. So this will be easy to do. Now all we have to do is click Continue. And it will bring up our cut settings that we want to use. But you won't see your cutaway card setting in the base material settings right here because this is just the ones that you've favorited. So if you go to Browse All Materials and then just search for the word Cutaway, you will find your material settings. Now, this is the one we made with the capitals. I purposely did that so we could tell the difference. So this is the one we're going to use, is Cutaway Cards. Click Done, and it's going to tell you that it wants you to load a gold pen and your fine point blade. I'm just going to load a random color pen. I don't really care what color it is. It doesn't matter. You can use any color that you want to, and then fine point blade. I'll show you how to set up the cards as well in case you haven't seen the Joy video where I made the cutaway cards, and then we'll be able to get this all cut out and show you how to work with it. The first thing that you'll need to do is to set up your cutaway card. So I have the card piece and the little backer piece. And when you open up your card, you'll see that there is a gridded little sheet here. You want to peel this little grid off because behind it is a sticky surface. This is what you're going to stick your backer to, and you want to stick it with the pretty colored side down onto the sticky surface. So what I do is I just kind of line it up, and you want to try to make sure that you get all the sticky covered without having your backer kind of hang over the card in any way, and then you want to press it down. Now normally I would tell you to use a cardstock mat, but I have found because this is so stiff and it's really slidey that I find it better to use a green mat when doing these cards. Just personal preference. I did not have a ton of great luck when I tried to use my cardstock mats. So you want to make sure this is well stuck down. I'm going to go ahead and get this open. And I'm going to load this, but I do need to put in my pen. So your pen goes into clamp A. You just open clamp A, pull out the pen, and when you put it in, put your finger at the bottom of the pen holder, press down until it clicks, and then close clamp A. Now all we're going to do is load our mat, and it will write first, and then it will cut out the word thanks next. Now that it's done, I'm going to go ahead and remove the pen. This is super important. You want to make sure you take your pen out, close it up before you do anything else. That way it doesn't dry out. Then go ahead and unload the mat, and I'm going to pull my machine out of the way so that you guys can see this a little better, because I do find it works really well if I leave it on the mat to weed. Now, I found that using tweezers was the best for me when it came to weeding these cards out, but use whatever works best for you. Now, one thing I will say, I don't love the gel pen because you can see it missed some spots with the writing, but it's fine, not a big deal. So what you're going to do is find the spots that you want to take out, and you want to make sure that you try to get under both chunks of the paper. So the paper is kind of shreddy, if that makes sense, so it does separate from one side to the other. That is something that I think they need to maybe work on with these cards a little bit. So I'll pull this one off so you can see it a little bit better. But do you see how I have two layers of paper? I have the top colored layer and then this thinner, like really white kind of rippy piece. This is the bottom layer of the paper. Now, no matter what setting I've cut it on, I've always had trouble with them separating. So I feel that that's more of a paper issue than it is an issue with the actual cut setting. So just keep that in mind. So that's why I use tweezers, because I do find that I can get under both pieces much easier. And I will say sometimes it does rip. That's okay. It's not a big deal. But it is pretty sticky, so you're just going to want to take your time and peel these off. Now, if you want to know how to make your own design on a card, you can watch the Joy video because it's done exactly the same way. There's no difference to how you do it. you just set it up like you do on this card. Now I will say that this N is wanting to lift these little sharp corners, so you'll want to take your time with those sharp corners. So let me go ahead and get the other two letters out, and then I'll show you guys what this looks like. Okay, so it's all done, and I just now realized that I totally put my card in the wrong way. When you do this, make sure that you flip your design so that it is actually upside down. I wasn't even thinking when I did it, but I don't want to have to recut this again because it's the same steps. And I mean, technically, could you give a card like this? Sure. Why not? I mean, who's going to stop you, really? So you could totally, you know, use it like this. Again, it's not perfectly centered. This is something that will take a little bit of time to get right, but you just kind of learn as you go, like where it needs to be. And I was getting pretty frustrated with this, to be honest with you, because I was having a lot of cut issues using my Maker 3, so that's why I moved over to my Maker. You can see it cut beautifully on my Maker. It did a really nice job. It's super shiny, but you can absolutely use these cutaway cards on your other machines. So if you don't have a Joy, don't feel like you're going to be left out of these nifty little cutaway cards. They come in a bunch of different colors, a bunch of different styles, so be sure to check them out. I'll link the cutaway cards down below for you. I hope you guys had fun checking out how to make these with your Cricut Maker. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting!